The vivarium. The vivarium's doing very well, very well. The plants are growing. The plants are growing really nice, really nice. Though I wish there was something moving. The plants aren't moving. Something more interesting to look at. Yeah. Something that can maybe help clean up as well. Clean up all the dead leaves everywhere. Make the vivarium look very nice, very pretty, very pretty. Though what? Oh? Isopods! Isopods are used to clean vivariums. And there's some pretty ones too. Yeah, isopods will do. They can be quite interesting to look at. Now I just need to find one. Alright. Just gotta search this up. I just gotta type it in. Gotta look at all the different kinds there are. I gotta pick a good one. So, I gotta click here. Yeah. Would you look at that? There's so many options. So many different colors, so many different variation. Yeah, just gotta keep looking. Just gotta keep looking and looking. Gotta look for one. Oh, there's so many different ones because there has to be one. There has to be one perfect one. One that's beautiful. One that's gonna be so interesting to look at. Yeah, you just gotta pick one. You gotta keep looking. There has to be one. There has to be a perfect one. Come on, just gotta find one. Just gotta find it. It's here somewhere. It's gotta be here. It's gotta be here somewhere. Oh, what's this? Yeah, the Scarlet Isopod. That's a pretty one. Yeah, that one will do. Now, how much is it? So anyway, I got the isopods. They're in here. I promise. I'll show them to you guys, but first, I gotta get out of here. I don't really know where I am. So anyways, I'm back with the isopods. Let me see if I can show you one. I'm gonna try to open it with one hand. Nothing can go wrong. Alright, I don't see any at the moment. I'm gonna have to remove their little hideout. Oh, there's one. That's a pretty one. Man, they're just gorgeous. I would open it up more and try to look for more isopods, but I'm not risking them escaping for unknown reasons. So let me relocate. Now that's better. Now they're inside a container. So if one were to escape the cup, they would be in the container and I could put them back in the cup. Because I am not losing one. No, sir. And here they are. My goodness, they're just gorgeous. In my opinion, the prettiest isopods around. You can't go wrong with the Scarlet Isopods. And you know what the best part is? These isopods are actually diurnal. That's right, unlike most of your other isopods, which are nocturnal, who sleep during the day, these guys actually walk and explore during the day. So you can actually see the isopods. And for isopods that cost this much, I expect nothing less. It's always good to know that you can actually see the animals that you pay this much for. They're just stunning. Absolutely stunning. They're pretty small, but they're still very vibrant. A question you've probably been asking is hey, can I keep this isopod as a cleanup crew for one of my lizards, like a crescent gecko? And you theoretically could. For a crescent gecko, they both have a very similar environmental requirement, so they can technically live together. And crescent geckos are nocturnal, so when the crescent geckos are sleeping, the isopods will be roaming around. And when the isopods are sleeping, the crescent gecko will be roaming around. So theoretically it would work, right? But there will always be the risk of the crescent gecko eating a few isopods. He's probably not going to eat all of them, but there's always that risk. And man, losing one of these isopods is pretty expensive. So you technically could, but I'm not going to test that. And if you do end up testing that, let me know how it goes. Alright, so now let's get into how to create a suitable enclosure for them. Just to let you know, I won't actually be releasing mine in this container enclosure that I'm about to show you how to make. Instead, mine are going to go into this 220 gallon vivarium that I've already made in the past that's already fully set up. But the thing is, most people don't have a 220 gallon vivarium fully set up. So I'm going to show you how normal people should be keeping them. Plus, it's better to keep them in a small container, at least to start, because you can monitor them and see if they're breeding properly. And once you have a good population going, then you can release them into a bigger enclosure. But I won't be doing that, so please go the container route. So to start, you need to get yourself a container, like this small little container. You can go bigger if you want, but if you have a small population, go for a smaller container to start. You want to make sure your container has these clips. This is because it will actually secure the top of your container, preventing any isopods from escaping. And you do not want this kind of isopod to escape. The next thing you want to get is some mesh. Here I got some bug mesh I got from Home Depot, you know, the ones that you use in like your window. They're really nice, they're great at keeping bugs from going in or out, so they'll be perfect. So what you want to do is basically cut a hole. Using a knife or scissors, you want to cut a hole on the side of the container and then just glue this mesh on, so that air can go through, but the mesh will keep the bugs from going out. You want to cut a hole on like both sides, preferably. Or you can cut some at the top instead. But I prefer the sides. It just adds more airflow. Actually, you want to cut a bit smaller opening because this species specifically likes it more humid, so you want smaller air openings. These isopods are actually found in the jungles of Vietnam. So you want to make sure that their environment is humid, at least 70% humid. Because if it's not humid enough, then they will have shedding problems. So please, keep it humid. Alright, so now it's time to get into the good stuff. The soil. Here I got some plantation soil, some reptile plant soil. It's not the recommended soil, I'm just using it as a demonstration. But you can find like some isopod soils, but the one I recommend is the triple mix with kelp soil that you can find at Canadian Tires. It's completely organic, completely safe. It's actually the soil that the person I got the isopods from used. So that's the soil I would recommend. So you would put that soil in instead of the reptile soil that I'm currently using right now. You just spread that out. You want to make sure it's pretty layered, or pretty evenly. And now for a very important step, the leaves. Leaves are very important. This is because it provides a good place for them to hide, and it's also pretty much their food. Isopods eat on decaying matter, and leaves provide a great source of food. So you want to add a good leaf layer in there. A nice leaf layer. You also want to make sure that you have some sphagnum moss. Why? Because they are great at containing water. They're great at keeping the enclosure humid. And this is how isopods are going to drink. They're going to drink from the sphagnum moss. So you always want to make sure that at least one side of the enclosure is just filled with sphagnum moss. So they have a really humid area and a bit more dry area. Because they like to alternate between super humid and not humid. So it's good to have one side be filled with sphagnum. And next you want to add some wood. This provides great cover, and these isopods also love to climb. They will climb branches and everything. That's why I'm putting them in the big vivarium, because they'll actually climb the branches. So you can position one of the branches to be a bit more high up so they can climb it. And there you go, that's pretty much the whole setup for the vivarium. It's pretty simple. It's actually very simple, very easy to do, very easy to keep. But one thing that's very important with these isopods is that you want to make sure that it's humid. So get yourself some kind of water sprayer and make sure it's like distilled water, not tap water because that might kill them. Make sure it's clean filtered water. And then you just spray the enclosure. Don't spray too much. You don't want it to be wet. You just want it to be moist. You want it to be humid. You want to make sure that the soil is damp. And the sphagnum moss, damp. You don't want it to be drenched. You don't want it to be a swamp. You want it to just be damp. Damp is what the isopods want. And for this species, they like it more humid. So you might need to spray them more than your other typical isopods. But spray them nicely. For additional foods, I recommend the Rapashi Crab Pie. It has all the nutrients, the minerals that the isopods need inside the food, even though it's not intended for isopods. It's basically a powder. You just pour some into the vivarium or enclosure. And you don't want to feed them too much, just a bit from time to time. And this can really help with breeding. Because why wouldn't you want your expensive isopod population to become bigger? So that's pretty much it. Put the lid back on, close it up, and you're done. That's it. Now, let's go release my isopods into the vivarium. This is it. Time to add them to their new vivarium. This is very exciting. Oh boy. Here they are, the Scarlet Isopods, ready to go to their new forever home. Man, they're just gorgeous. I was thinking of pulling them out one by one, but that's not gonna work, so I'm gonna have to assist them. Just gonna flip it upside down. They're fine. It's just a lot easier to get them out. I'm gonna spread this out a bit. And continue to assist them. They're pretty difficult to get out. They're surprisingly difficult to get out of the cup. Well, that's the end of the video, so please, enjoy this montage of the isopods exploring their new home. You may have noticed that a lot of these are pictures instead of videos. That's because every time I film them, they just freeze. So there's no point in actually filming them. So I just take the picture because they're not moving anyways when I have the camera out. So yeah. Oops. Also, some of these pictures may have been taken weeks after I've released them, so you may notice that some of the plants are different. So, in the end, should you get some Scarlet Isopods? Yes, if you want to see your wallet burn.